This is just a friendly PSA that it's okay to admit if you're struggling, and it's really worth it sometimes to get the help that you really need. And also, again, PPA is just as important to have treated as PPD.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon.
Hey guys, so I'm back with the ridiculously extra backgrounds as always. I am working on getting a better film setup done, but it's gonna be a couple more weeks. Well, probably gonna be a little longer than that. It's gonna be a little while, but I'm working on it. It's gonna be super cute. And listen, instead of these backgrounds with the green screen, you're gonna see my extensive Squishmallow collection and probably some pretty lights and stuff. So stay tuned for that. But today we're gonna talk about a much more serious topic, and I think it's really important. On this channel, I know I talk about a wide variety of things, mostly family related stuff, weight loss related stuff, my health and fitness journey, weight loss journey, yeah, all that. And with the family stuff comes like mom related, parent related stuff. And one thing that I don't think gets talked about enough in a realistic and raw way is the reality of postpartum. And I know a lot more women speak up about it now than they used to, but it's still kind of considered taboo, and a lot of women still feel very uncomfortable talking about it. And I was that way too at the beginning. Let's just rewind really quick because I have not put up my birth story yet with Braxley. He is my rainbow baby, so I did have an early miscarriage, but it was super early, so Braxley is the only baby I've truly, actually been very pregnant with and obviously gave birth to. Not to minimize early miscarriages, it's still awful and it still changed me forever, but obviously I didn't carry that baby long enough to experience any of these things. So that being said, this is just about my pregnancy with my only son, Braxley, and just to kind of rewind a little bit, he was a planned baby. He was very wanted. I was so excited, so happy. I loved being pregnant. His birth was very traumatic, and that's probably where part of the issue came for me. It was very scary and very traumatic, and a lot of things happened that we never would have expected and were not prepared for in the slightest. So fast forward, the first few days was really just about being in awe of my new baby. Side note, I have new glasses. It's my first glasses since I was a kid. It's been 11 years. So I'm really excited, so that's why you're gonna be seeing me wear these. I am working on contacts, but yeah, we're not there yet. We were in the hospital for 4 days, first of all. And it was not really because of him, it was because of me. I did have uterine ruptures, so I had more extensive healing to do than just the emergency C-section. My C-section was also much lower than normal, and I had a wound back and all that stuff, and they were worried about my lungs because I have really bad asthma, and I had been on oxygen for part of the time after having him, and just etc, etc. But anyway, at first it was not very obvious that I was gonna have any kind of issues, which I don't think it usually is right away. For a lot of women, it takes a little bit of time, and then the hormones start, to change, go back down, try to slowly start the descent into being normal again and not being pregnant. And also I was breastfeeding, so that is a whole other story as far as hormones and body changes go. The first 2 weeks, my boyfriend, his father, was able to be home with us to help take care of me because I obviously was in a lot of pain. I really started noticing the difference around the time he went back to work. I was extremely emotional, which is obviously normal and to be expected. I just had a baby, and now for the first time in my life, I'm totally alone to take care of this baby while recovering from a C-section and 2 uterine ruptures. So, I was very emotional about him going back to work, but again, to be expected. Um, and it wasn't that I was sad. I was not sad. I was extremely happy. Being a mom has been something that I feel like I was destined to do. I love it so much. I can't put it into words how much I love it, but it was more so I just felt like I was drowning at times. I was so concerned with being the perfect mom, and we were having struggles with breastfeeding because I had been on a medicine for my severe allergies that they did not tell me. They told me I had to stop it before giving birth, but they didn't tell me that taking it while pregnant. It is safe to take while pregnant, but they didn't tell me that it would basically screw up my milk production. Milk never fully came in. I did breastfeed for 9 weeks, but I never made enough to sustain him exclusively on breast milk. He dropped a significant amount of weight in the first week of his life, and I felt so guilty over it because he was not getting enough for me, and I tried pumping. I was not able to get hardly anything. I think maybe the most I ever got pumping at once was maybe half an ounce, and that was from both sides combined. So we were only on the boob, and he just wasn't getting enough, and it got to the point where supplementing was required. He was born at 7 pounds 11 ounces, and he did drop down to 6 pounds 13 ounces by the time we took him home. Because at no point in the hospital did we supplement. We did not supplement until we had already taken him home, and we had went to the first out-of-hospital checkup with a pediatrician that we wanted. And we were going back every day because it was such a big concern on his weight. So I was stressed about that, obviously, first-time mom, and then all the hormones came in, and I had slight PPD, but that went away with time on its own without any intervention. It never got severe enough that I needed medication. I was never, having bad thoughts towards me or the baby. It was more so just incessantly crying very easily and very hard. But as time went on, I realized, because I've always had anxiety. I have GAD, which, if you're unfamiliar, is generalized anxiety disorder. It tends to heavily lean on like social related anxiety problems, but it is generalized anxiety. And I've had it since I was in grade school, so as long as I can remember pretty much, but I've never treated it or even admitted it to a doctor. Because growing up at that time, it just was really considered taboo, and I never felt comfortable, talking to a doctor about it. I really should have. But the support that kids have now is very different than the early to mid 2000s. I entered high school in 2010, and things were starting to get a little more talked about by then, but really it's been the last few years that it's gotten way more normalized, at least to an extent. We still have a lot of work to do in society about normalizing these problems. But, needless to say, I already had GAD going into this pregnancy and this birth and motherhood. So I knew I was at high risk for getting PPA. And for a long time, I just dealt with it. I barely slept in the early months, besides just breastfeeding and him being a newborn. I also I had all these intrusive thoughts of like really crazy, not realistic, worst case scenario things happening out of nowhere to him, and I just felt so on edge. And it finally got to a point that even though I am now over a year and a half postpartum, I still felt like it was impeding me. My anxiety was already bad before having Brackley, but having him definitely made it worse, because then I had GAD mixed with PPA. The PPD went back to normal on its own, and it went away. Not back to normal. It went away. I have had normal depression as well in my lifetime, but with age and changing my life around, I've mostly gotten past that. It's just been anxiety that is a really huge struggle and problem for me. And I finally got tired of it because it messes with your sleep, it messes with your energy levels, it messes with your mood, your emotions, it messes with everything. I mean, literally everything. So, thanks to a couple people that I'm very grateful for and very appreciative of the support and the motivation and courage, I finally got the nerve up to go talk to my doctor about it in December. And the plan was to try therapy first, and that just did not work out. I literally could not find one within an hour of me that was taking insurance and not private pay and not booked out 6 months or more. So she let me just go ahead and try medication, since I really didn't think therapy was going to be the best suit for me at the time, considering I think it was, a mix of GAD and PPA. And I've tried therapy recommended techniques over the years, and it may help a little, but it doesn't help to the point where I feel a lot of relief. Not knocking therapy. I know for some people it is wonderful. Just with the current situation, I live in America, so mental health care is not great. A lot of insurances won't pay for it. A lot of therapists won't even accept insurance anyway. They only do pay out of pocket, which is crazy because some of the places were wanting $100 to $200 a session, and that could be 1 to 4 or more times a month, and that's just not feasible for most people. Nor would I do it even if I had the money. That's just insane to me. So we did try medicine, and she put me on Lexapro, which is technically the generic of it, but I just want to be totally open and raw here, because I always avoided medication because I was so terrified of it having negative effects, because we all know it can. It affects everybody differently, and each brand, dose affects people differently, so you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, it's a risk that you're told about and you have to be willing to take. And I was always really scared to take that risk. But I finally got over the fear of literally, it was the anxiety of having to bring it up and talk about it that was holding me back for a long time. I mean, you have to make phone calls and talk to a doctor about sensitive stuff, and that is a nightmare for someone with anxiety, or at least this type of anxiety. But I finally did it, and I'm so glad that I did, because I will be honest, I know it's not this way for everyone. Some people are going to go through different medications and side effects, and that can be scary, and it can be a horrible experience. So by no means am I saying that it's going to be an easy experience for everyone. I got very lucky. I apparently was so low on serotonin that the very first half dose, which is not supposed to make any difference, I could literally tell the difference, and it wasn't a mental difference, it was a physical difference. And that's why I had the feeling it wasn't placebo, but I don't know. I did have one negative side effect the second or third day, which was, and this is one that can happen, and I did read about beforehand, so I knew what it was, thankfully. It almost feels like electric shocks in the back of your neck and head. It's only for a split second here and there, and it stopped after one day of doing that, so it was a little freaky, but it was short-lived, and so, I mean, it is what it is. The biggest change that I've noticed that has been negative is that I am very tired. I don't sleep great at night. This has helped my sleep, because I also used to have very bad insomnia from the anxiety. I fall asleep reading like true crime and creepypastas because I can't just lay there, or my mind bad places. And so it's helped that I can fall asleep a lot easier now. I'm still not able to stay asleep, so that kind of sucked, but it has helped. I'm not tired from the medicine itself, because I've tried it in the morning and at night, and there's no difference. So it's not the medication itself making me tired. What I've read up on is when you have had this bad, because my level of anxiety was really bad. When you've had that level of anxiety for so long, your body basically just is like constantly adrenaline rush, like a constant fight or flight mode. So when you finally medicate that and your body starts to leave out of that mode, that like adrenaline high that has kept you going for so long starts to go away. And obviously all of a sudden your body's like, I need to make up for lost time, because our body's been under stress, like mentally and physically for pretty much our whole life. I would say like almost 20 years, and I'm 26, so most of my life. So I've been really tired. I'm about 6 weeks in, and I'm still tired, but I'm dealing with it. It's not debilitating. I have had to start taking naps here and there during the day when my son naps to make up for it. And I mean, it's frustrating, but I'll be honest here. If this is always this way, I would prefer this over the debilitating anxiety. It was so bad, and I mean, obviously my anxiety is not just fully gone. It's not a magic cure, but I'm so much happier. I can't talk. I'm a better mother. I'm a better spouse. Well, we're not married, but girlfriend, whatever. I'm a better partner. I'm a better human. I'm happier. I'm less on edge. It's like this huge weight has just been lifted off my shoulders, and I can enjoy things, and I can be fully happy and relax. It used to be so hard for me to ever relax, even a little bit, but now I can, and it's so freaking amazing. So the whole tired thing, which I have a follow-up coming up soon with my doctor, from what I've researched online about the whole being tired after finally medicating severe anxiety that has lasted for so many years, it is very, very normal for people to be tired because your body is finally relaxing after years of just basically almost always being on edge. So for most people, after a little bit, after a couple months, sometimes even a little longer than that, it will start to even out and normalize again. But needless to say, I would recommend it if you are suffering from PPA, if you're suffering from PPD, GAD, any form of any mental illness. Please don't be afraid of the what ifs, because I've spent so many years of my life being afraid of the what ifs. If I did treat it, that I could have been so much happier. And especially with PPA, I still have intrusive thoughts. I think that every parent probably does to an extent of like, what if a tree crashes into the house and crushes my child? Or, what if we get in a car accident? Or what if something happens when they're asleep? And, that's part of being a parent. But it shouldn't be to the point where it's preventing sleep or, just impeding on your normal life. And I think that's something that, we hear so much about PPD, postpartum or postnatal depression. And we hear so much news coverage and so much, help offered for that, but we don't see as much for PPA. And I didn't even realize how common PPA was until I got pregnant and had my son. But it is just as debilitating for mothers as PPD can be. So just please understand that it's okay to need a little assistance. And it's not as scary as you might think it is. It has 100% been the best decision that I've made since, honestly, dating my boyfriend and then getting pregnant with my son. Hands down, besides those two things, it's the best decision in that list for a long time. I'm so thankful that I had the support to help push me in the right direction. If you don't have that support, you do now, because you have me, and I'm here to be real and raw. If you have any questions, I will give you the 100% honest truth, not to scare you or, compare, but to be honest with you and to try to be a listening ear if you need it, because I don't think that I would have got the nerve to go on my own if I didn't have the support that I did. Luckily, I had the support from my boyfriend, my cousin, a couple best friends, so I'm very, very blessed and grateful to say that I had the right support to help me get in the right mindset to actually treat it and get on the right path. I have had a wonderful experience with Lexapro. I know not everybody has, not everybody will. Everybody's going to work differently, but it's worth trying if you're struggling. And I just wanted to make this video to reach out and to say that, sometimes we hear about PPD and not PPA, And PPA is just as important to know about, and is just as important to be treated for if you really are struggling with it. Not everyone will struggle with it as long as I have. I have GAD, again, generalized anxiety disorder. So it's hard for me to know exactly where that ends and the PPA begins. But obviously it got worse after having my sons. So they're intertwined, but I cannot begin to describe to you how much better things are having it treated and having actual serotonin in my body. Because, yeah, it's really vital, and it's insane how much more of a chemical in your brain can make it such a difference. But it really can. Have I been losing weight since starting it? No. I've been off track, but I've been giving myself grace because my body is adjusting to a huge change. So I haven't been actively losing, but it's okay. We're gonna get right back to it, and it's gonna be okay. Sometimes you have to put things on pause and fix other things first. Mental health was hurting me in so many ways that it had to come first. And as soon as I get the whole exhaustion level thing back on track, things are going to be fine. And they're going to be better than ever. So this is just a friendly PSA that it's okay to admit if you're struggling. And it's really worth it sometimes to get the help that you really need. And also, again, PPA is just as important to have treated as PPD. So just know that you have a listening ear, you have a shoulder to talk to, cry on, whatever you need. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. As Bailey Sarian would say, make great decisions, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!